Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. So, really wanted to go over kind of everything that we're providing, all the different tools that are accessible for y'all, and really anything and everything that you can use right away. All right. So, the first thing to really take a look at is this is obviously the scottleroymarketing.com website. And the main place to focus on everything possible is going to be under this agent resources section. So once you sign in with your Market Center number, this is where everything will be accessible for you to utilize. All right, so I'm currently logged in right now. I'm actually not sure who I'm logged in as. I might be logged in as myself. All right, but once you sign in with your MC number, then everything will pop up. All right, so I know this class is primarily around everything that's available for y'all, and I know I highlighted that it's going to be beyond the onboarding side, but I definitely want to take a look at the onboarding side on here as well too. All right, so that way we can at least talk about all those different items that are accessible for you to utilize. So first thing first, whenever an agent is onboarding, obviously there's a little bit different method now for us to kind of get them up and running since they are now coming through Command MC instead of going through obviously the new associate section directly. So once the agent has filled out that Command MC invite link, then our questionnaire can either be filled out at that exact same time or right after that. All right, so completely up to y'all as to when that is filled out on here. All right, but looking at the different questionnaires that we have, and we'll talk more about that dynamic in a second as well too. But first and foremost, we have our new agent questionnaire. This is really going to ask very minimal information now in comparison to what it used to ask before, as this is going to be more so about just getting basic info from the agent, and we'll pull the other information from that marketing profile, or in this case, the My Profile section, to then populate everything for them. All right, we do have one purely for admins that are coming onto the office on here to help out. There we go. Sorry, I had someone just hop in here. Got one for, oh, more people are coming in here. Here we go. All right, so one for admins that are joining the office as well too. One for admins that are now agents. All right, so if anyone has become licensed, that's now available as well. We have one just for cappers, so if you need a quicker turnaround time, that's accessible for y'all to utilize. We have one purely for command. So if agents are, maybe they haven't utilized command quite yet, or maybe they've been set up and they just want to see what is newer. Or in most cases, this is also a great one in case agents, well, this one and this one are great ones in case agents originally joined a team, all right, and now are actually saying, hey, I'm leading that team. I'm trying to come over and I want to be able to access this right away. And, what all is available as an individual agent. All right, and that's the same thing for this existing agent one. This is my favorite questionnaire out of all of them because it doesn't matter how long you've been at the office. Inevitably, there's something on here that we can take a look at and say, hey, as of September 21st, all right, Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, as of 9/21, what does that look like? All right, so if we set you up on 9/21/2020, all right, what does that look like 3 years later? What all is different? What else is missing on here? How else can we help out? So this is a great way for us to go through and basically just kind of do a spot check for those agents. So inevitably, if an agent is coming through and, geez, maybe they're saying, hey, I've been with Keller Williams for quite some time. I don't know what I'm missing on here. This is a great way for us to highlight that for them right away. All right, we also have one for expansion agents. So if an agent is joining your office but also works in another market center, we can help to highlight both locations. One for hidden agents, so basically a capper that hasn't alerted their brokerage that they're transferring quite yet, so we can get them up and running without, highlighting that they are officially live with Keller Williams. Definitely want to make sure everything's done without it, showing publicly. We have one for staff members, much like yourself, agents coming back to Keller Williams, teams, and then also agents that are internally transferring. So not transfer agents from one other brokerage like Coldwell Banker, Century 21, but from one market center to another market center, one business center to another market center, vice versa. All right, so all of these are accessible for y'all to utilize. Now, I know I talked about this saying, what's the best method for someone to actually fill this out? Well, we have a couple different options that are available on here. I'm going to put something in our chat section very soon as well, too. All right, so the first option that we actually have accessible on here is really saying, all right, first and foremost, if the agent is doing the dependent model and they're actually filling out everything possible, great. All right, then once the agent fills out the command onboarding system, they would want to simultaneously fill out our questionnaire. So if you're sending off that invite link and then basically telling the agent, hey, please complete this, then you can also CC us on an email and we can alert them, hey, here's our questionnaire. Please fill this out as well, too. All right, the second method, which is the method we kind of prefer a little bit more at the end of the day, is where the agent's actually going to fill out that command onboarding system in person with the office staff and then simultaneously fill out our questionnaire as well, too. Now, I know a lot of agents, or not a lot of agents, sorry, a lot of offices will utilize this as kind of their preferred method. In most cases, though, I know it's also not possible for all agents to join in the office. All right, so in this case, sometimes, they might be a dual career agent or anything of that sort, or they're just not able to make it, and that's okay. All right, and then the third one is if the office staff is doing what they did previously, where the office staff is basically filling out that command system. All right, and then also filling out the SLM questionnaire for the agent as well, too. All right, so a couple different options accessible on here for y'all. All right, now depending on which method you use, this is why I said I was going to put this over inside our chat section. All right, so I'm putting this in our Zoom chat right now, and we'll send this back over with all of our information as well, too. All right, but on here, this is a great thing to look at because it's all of our canned responses about everything that's accessible. So in this case, if you want to go through and say the agent is doing that option 1, right, where the agent is going to do everything as more that independent model, all right, then in this case, in this option, the office would send a message to SLM and CC the agent on the email, alerting them who we are and how we can help out. So as you can see from this little canned response we have on here, welcome aboard. You're about to receive an email from no-reply@system.kdb.com with the subject line a KDB invitation. And then once you receive that email, please fill out the SLM questionnaire at the same time. So then down here, SLM, please welcome blank to Keller Williams as a blank agent. So, geez, please welcome Sonia to Keller Williams as a new agent. And then we would then reply back, welcoming them obviously, and include our questionnaire on there as well too. Now that's more of the independent model where the agent is actually doing everything. If it is more of the kind of not fully dependent, but a little bit more dependent because it's going to be in person. So if the agent is filling this out in person with the office staff, all right, in this option, the office will fill out the SLM questionnaire with the agent while they complete the AMS system in the office. All right. So on here, you don't have to say this, but obviously welcome aboard. During your onboarding orientation, we're going to fill out the SLM questionnaire. The questionnaire will help you to have a white glove experience setting up all of your KDB technology. All right. Or in the third case, if you're going to do everything for the agent, then this is a great way to say, you're about to receive an email from no-reply@system.kdb.com with the subject line a KDB invitation. Once you receive that email, please send that back to me to complete your onboarding for you. All right. And then you can actually fill out that questionnaire for us as well, too. Because if you notice on here, all right, for our setup questionnaire, it's asking a lot less than it used to. So previously we were asking for pretty much anything and everything is what it felt like. All right, so in this case, we were asking a lot of questions, but now we're just going to ask, what is your preferred first and last name? Right, in this case, what is your username and password since they're going to be setting that up? All right, what is your personal email? Do you have an NRDS number? What would you like as your KDB email or website URL? And then, of course, do you happen to have a headshot or a logo on here? And then that way we can update that immediately. Now, once again, nothing is set in stone. We can go through and adjust this at any time. So completely up to them at the end of the day, if they want to actually hop on here, send over some information or allow us to kind of, tweak that for them. Awesome. All right, so that's all accessible. And one other thing I do want to highlight, just a heads up, and I apologize I didn't highlight this one a second ago, that email that I was just showing you, all right, every week we actually send out an email, our tips email, or sometimes we'll send out a leadership email. If you are not receiving these leadership emails that are coming from us directly, please feel free to put your email in the chat section on here, all right, chat section on Zoom, so that way we can update that to make sure you are getting that as a membership of leadership. All right, not a membership of leadership, but a member of leadership. All right, and then of course we also have our existing agent questionnaire. Now, if you'd like me to hop on a team meeting to do a quick rundown with the agents in the office and kind of alert them, hey, here's everything that's now accessible for you. This is one item that I do highlight for them. Because inevitably, I always say it's SAT rules on this, where you get 500 points just for knowing your first and last name, or in this case, a third of it's already done. So it's just going to ask some simple information like first and last name, what's your personal email, login and password, do you have a cell phone, or what is your cell phone? And then do you have a headshot you want us to update? So not a required one, but one they can use on here. All right. So in that case, completely up to y'all if you want to highlight this. But this is a great way to say, hey, if you actually, geez, are coming in and, you've been with the office for a year, this is a great one to highlight at the end of the day. All right. Now, outside of this, once this is done, once that's filled out, so just to give you a heads up, here's a few things that we will set up for the agents. I want to give you an idea as to what this will look like. All right, so first thing first, you should receive an email that's going to look something similar to this. All right, so you'll receive this Keller Cloud Setup Complete email, and then on here, it's going to say, welcome to Keller Williams, where entrepreneurs thrive, and then click here to access all of your new information. Now, one thing that's going to be a little bit different that I want to show y'all is very soon, we're also going to add in a plethora of additional items for the agents. So outside of just going through and getting them set up with all the stuff we're doing right now, like setting up their email, their profile, their marketing profile, their website, DocuSign, their app, all the additional backend items, their brand assets, going through and making sure they have all the smart plans launched. All right, we're also going to do a plethora of additional items on here too, including sending them over some attachments like, hey, here's the image where you can download the app for the QR code. Or on top of that, here's the website QR code. We're going to start sending them email signatures as well, too, that they can utilize right away. So here are just some examples of ones that we have accessible on here. All right. And then on top of that, also a piece that they can then post out. Oh, thank you so much. All right. A piece that they can then post out over on their social media, or that they can also email out as well, saying that they've now joined forces with Keller Williams. And obviously, in this case, this is just a template one. I just want to give you all a heads up. This will then have your office logo on here properly as well, too, with their information. And we'll have versions where it'll have a headshot and even versions where it won't have a headshot on here as well, too. All right, but I wanted to give you an idea as to what this will actually look like to highlight that a little bit further. All right, but once you actually click on this, and once I click here, for instance, let's back out of this real quick. I'm going to pull this back up. All right, then this is what y'all should be receiving. So you'll get this actual unique URL on here. So slmonboarding.com/MC number / and then a bunch of letters and numbers that are unique for the agent. But once you put inside your market center number, then everything will be accessible on here. All right, so this is where we're going to have all the different info, whether it's, any notes that we may need on here. It's also going to have their login and password to access everything possible. We're going to have their Google Suite or Google Workspace account on here as well, too, of what their login and password is, what their website address is, and all the additional pages that we set up for them on there, what their profile is, and obviously everything that we updated in their backend to make sure it's highlighted properly. What do we set up as their command email for any replies coming back from those smart plans or emails going out? What's their consumer app link? Keller Home Loans, Keller Covered. How can they purchase Twilio? All right, we're even working around right now, speaking of Twilio and texting, we're working with it right now to potentially set up a WhatsApp number for the agent as well, too, since that is now an option where they can actually text directly through command with WhatsApp. All right, we also are setting up DocuSign for the agents on here, including, setting up that recovery answer to make sure they're fully up and running and linked with command. If your office is utilizing .loop and you do not see .loop on your setup complete email, please let us know. We can adjust that immediately. So if the office is still using .loop, we can definitely do that. Right, we are still setting up HomeKeeper on here as well, too. All right, so that way you can actually go through and have auto blogs or auto post over on the social media platforms. And then, of course, additional logins on here, whether it's for Calendly that we're now setting up for agents where they'll have their own specific Calendly account with a 30-minute general real estate consultation option. So that way they can share this with other clients, with vendors, with other agents to schedule time with them right away. All right, we're also setting up Blink for a digital business card. So that way, if agents want to have a digital business card, they can download the Blink app, and then they can share this as well in addition to their physical business card, something that's a little bit more eye-appealing that'll have their headshot, your logo, all the contact information on here too, all right, including their website, their social media platforms, their app. So something that's going to go beyond just kind of saving it inside that contact, on the phone. We want to make sure that this is standing out for them. All right. And then on top of that, a Zoom account too. So that way they can start to utilize Zoom, whether it's for their own business or obviously for internal purposes, maybe for training. All right, we'll also include helpful resources on here as well too. All right, so for the helpful resource section, we've got some different items like royalty-free media sites, answers.kdb.com, KDB Connect, Ignite, our training, how they can utilize our services even further. What are the next steps that we can use with them, like sending us their database, announcing their move to Keller Williams, which we're already doing for them now. And then, of course, on here, some support numbers they may want to keep on file as well, too. All right, so while I move on to the next section, Tanya had a great question on here. So yes, we are actually working around with new classes as well too. So we can easily add one in on Google Suite training of what's available. Because one thing that I do want to highlight for KW agents is if you are utilizing your KW.com email, one, there's a suite of items accessible for them, whether it's beyond Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, but more importantly, what are the capabilities? Like a lot of agents don't know about the unlimited storage. Some agents don't know what they do and don't have. Like with the KW.com email, they can't have a Google AdWords account or Google Sites. So yes, we will have one to kind of highlight that even further. All right, but one big thing I did want to highlight as well with our onboarding that's not, shown inside that setup complete email, but we are setting up all agents, all right, under their design section with their brand assets, putting inside their headshot, putting in all variations of the office logo. And then one big thing we're doing is we're launching all 10 KWI smart plans, all right, all 10 KWI smart plans on here. And then in addition to that, so we're launching them, we're not activating them, because obviously in order for them to become active, you have to put contacts on there. But we are activating one smart plan. So first and foremost, one new one that's going to be coming out that y'all get a sneak peek on is our Just Join KW. So this is the first email they can send out to their contacts. This is going to actually be a design, not a simple email one anymore, but it'll say, hello, I'm excited to announce that I've joined the world's largest real estate company. Whether you're looking now or in the future to buy, sell, or rent real estate, please reach out to me at any time. It's going to have that image that we're going to be creating for the agents. And then once again, just thanking them. So a great way to kind of introduce everything on here and really get their name in front of everybody. And then if they want to, 7 days later, hey, please make sure you make a call just to touch base with them. So something to kind of get in front of their database a little bit quicker after we've imported it for them. The one big thing that's being done right now, though, is that for every agent, we are adding in our 30-day challenge. This 30-day challenge is a print version that is now a smart plan. So the smart plan is going to be 30 tasks that are going to come out every day. All right, so it's going to come out 30 days in a row for them. So on here, so this first one that's going to say, hey, it says create task, but obviously this is one we already created for them. But day one, download your Command mobile app and sign in. All right, then it's going to show the description, learn how to download the app right here. And then if they need help, reach out to us and we can help you out and just reference the day. All right, so what this is meant to do is three things. All right, so one, we really want the agent first and foremost to start to utilize the KDB technology. So this is going to be more about implementation. So on day one, download the Command mobile app. On day two, download your KDB consumer app. On day three, either go to the recorded training class of our Command Overview, that's the high-level overview, or obviously they can then come to our actual real class that's happening every Monday that we'll talk about in a second. All right, but in addition to that, it's also going to highlight stuff for us to do. So on here, day 6, export contacts from your phone to send to SLM. Day 7, export or send those contacts to SLM. So send the exported contacts to us. And then we're going to do all the heavy lifting. So we have a couple things in here that are purely meant for the agents just to come through and basically say, like on day 10, request SLM to add your contacts to the smart plan of your choice. Like things for them to start to utilize our services even further. But then more importantly, we also want to let the agents know, hey, when you're doing this smart plan, what does a smart plan look like? So by doing these 30 tasks, not only are they going to learn more about Command, they're going to be integrated into Command. So they're going to start to implement everything. And then more importantly, they're actually going to be able to see what a smart plan could potentially look like before they even start one for their clients. So if the clients come back saying, hey, what is this? Well, they'll have an idea as to what that is. So as you can see right on here, all the tasks are going to pop up on my home page, or of course, over in my task list. Now, one thing I do want to highlight for y'all on here is if you do want us to add inside the leadership or ALC contact information for every new agent, please let us know. That is something we started doing a couple of years ago. We have offices that are taking advantage of it, but if you want to have where once you click on this contact info, it'll automatically display all office leadership. It'll automatically display all ALC leadership on here. All right, please feel free to let us know and we can get that added in immediately on here. All right, so that way we can tag it as office leadership or ALC for you. And then, of course, as things change, we can adjust that for you too. But that's a great way to highlight this so that way when the agents sign in and they're in their contacts, they automatically have all the leadership and ALC information ready to go. All right, so that's the last thing I'm going to talk about on the onboarding side. All right, so now let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything on here. All right, perfect. All right, thank you, Tanya. Yeah, of course. All right, so the next thing we have on here is obviously for the new K2B agent websites. So those are obviously, launching as of right now. I know it hasn't been public knowledge. They haven't made a big announcement or anything of that sort. We heard that it is going to be coming out shortly, that there'll be a bigger announcement or a big marketing push on it. All right, but if agents want to learn more about the K2B agent website and should they move to the new site or should they stay with the current site, this will help out tremendously. All right. So this is just a page purely talking about the new agent sites with tips that we've created. All right, now beyond that, we also have live webinars. So this URL that y'all are on, the slmwebinar.com URL, that is the URL for our daily training class that happens every day at 1 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight, Mountain Daylight that is. All right. 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight or Mountain Standard, so on and so forth. All right, those are 1 hour long classes, and agents can come here, watch them from home. They can watch them in the training room if you'll happen to host them, wherever they want to. All right, it's all online, but they're all workshop style classes, so it's meant for the agents to do it along with us. So it does help if they have another monitor that they can watch while being able to do it with us on their own laptop or tablet. But if they happen to have, maybe one window open on the left, one window open on the right on here, that's always an option as well, too. All right. Now, looking into the training, though, I'm going to open up a couple of these real quick. So I'm under the training section right now. I'm going to start with training calendar. So if you've not downloaded this training calendar, please feel free. All right. So on here, you're first and foremost going to see, hey, to join the live webinar, visit slmwebinar.com. Let me make sure it's going to the proper place. It is. At the time of your desired class. All right, or feel free to go to slmtraining.com to actually be able to see the recorded versions. And I'm going to talk about those in a second too. All right, now on top of that, we also even have where, hey, if you want to vote for what our upcoming class is going to be, every other Friday, we have a You Choose class now. So that way agents can feel a little bit more, involved in what they're learning on. So this way it's like, hey, here are 3 classes that are, that you can choose between. So for the class next Friday, that is, I keep thinking it's tomorrow, but it's not. All right, the class next Friday, would you rather learn about building your social media, holiday marketing within Command, or 36 Touch Smart Plan? All right, and then whoever votes for the, obviously the highest one on here is going to be the winner, and then we'll teach that class. Or if you don't see one, let us know. Ironically enough, this one right here came from August because someone said, I'd love to learn more about holiday marketing. So we put it on here and said, great, let's add this bad boy in here and let people vote for it. All right, so that's all accessible. Now on this training calendar page on here too. All right, oh, I gave the wrong URL to somebody. My apologies, there we go. All right, so on the training calendar page as well too, we also happen to have all of our courses that are coming up. So if you want to add this over to your Google Calendar, you're definitely more than welcome to. All right, if you want to, feel free to subscribe. You can see what courses are happening that particular day. And we also have all of our printable calendars on here as well too. All right, all segmented by the time zone. So if you want to see your exact time zone, obviously make sure you click on the proper one. And it's going to have the exact time for you to print off and hand out to agents. Now, what I normally suggest with this is to go through and obviously print this out and then hand this out to the agents in that onboarding packet. All right, so if they're receiving an onboarding email, if they're receiving just a packet of these different PDFs for them to fill out, whatever it may be, this is something that'd be great to kind of highlight for them. Now, this flyer on here, the reason I love this is not only is it something tangible that they can have, but then they can also start to mark on this and say, hey, I made it to this class. I didn't make it to this one. I want to come back and rewatch this one. All right. And feel free to add this to your own training calendar as well, too. So we have the classes segmented by the day on here just to make it a little bit easier. And on the right-hand side, these numbers are the dates of the classes occurring that month. All right, so we're finalizing our October one right now, but for September, you can see every Monday is our command overview class. So when an agent first joins KW, usually once we set them up, the first question we always hear is, thank you for setting this up. What is this? How do I utilize this? All right, so we definitely want to make sure that it's a little bit easier for them to see that little 30,000, 40,000 foot overview where we're going to talk about everything that's available for them. But once they take that class and they get a hankering to learn about a specific item, then our Tuesday through Friday classes are in-depth coverage on here. So on Tuesday, for instance, we had one this week on the new website overview. And next week, we're having one on customizing your site to the ability that they're able to customize right now, obviously. This is going to consistently change. That's why we always have these courses. But then on Wednesday, maybe an agent's saying like, hey, I really want to, go through and access smart plans on here. I want to learn more about it. Or I want to learn more on Thursday about my database and how I can do direct mailers. Or I want to come through on Friday. I want to learn about DocuSign. All right, these are all accessible for agents to hop on here and interact with us. So once again, these are live classes. They're workshop style courses. All right, so what I always tell people is think of it as a combination of the Bob Ross television show meets like Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues, Paw Patrol. All right, depending on which kids show you prefer the best. Right. I'm a Blue's Clues guy. All right. And obviously, grew up with Blue's Clues, but if y'all want to go with Paw Patrol, I know that's the new thing. Please feel free. All right. But the reason I say that is because we're doing it with the agents, much like in the Bob Ross television show where he's painting, you're painting along with him. It's a workshop class. We want to get them in there. We want them to get their hands dirty on everything. All right, but we're going to go at a very slow pace so they're able to keep up with us because obviously it's an online class. Much like at the beginning of this class, I had issues with Zoom. All right, my Zoom wasn't working. All right, they might have similar issues as well too. All right, so that's all available for us to go through and kind of have them learn about this a little bit more. All right, now one thing I do want to highlight on this, and obviously, this is way more in depth than I would ever typically tell an agent or anything about this, but since this is leadership only, I want to give you all the nitty gritty on everything. So I want you all to get your money's worth out of this class. All right, but one thing I do always highlight for leadership, if you notice all these courses, this is basically 20 to 25 additional classes each month that you can highlight for your agents to use for free. But what I always like to say is it's 20 to 25 additional classes that inside the office, you also don't have to worry about teaching. I've seen some offices say, hey, if you want to learn more about smart plans, you can do the basics with SLM. All right. And then we're going to have in our class, our smart plan class, we're going to do one that's more centered around the monthly neighborhood nurture. We're going to talk more about our neighborhoods and how to actually farm to them. Same thing with DocuSign. I've seen this happen a bunch where offices will say, if you want to learn the basics of DocuSign and how to utilize everything, SLM has a DocuSign 101 class. But when you come to our DocuSign class, we're now going to talk about how we want everything submitted for compliance, how we want everything set up so that our MCA can go through and adjust everything, and how you can get paid at the closing, and also talk about our board or our state forms as well too. All right, so feel free to utilize our classes to supplement your training as well too, so that way you can enhance the internal training that's happening in person at the office. All right, but definitely feel free at the bare minimum, add this to your training calendar, even if it's saying every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, slmwebinar.com, for agents to come on here. Now, beyond the training side on there, I know I exhausted the live training classes a little bit. We also have our challenges. So I highlighted that 30-day challenge as the SMART plan. All right, but we also have an SLM getting started one. So if agents want to utilize all of our free services a little bit more, please feel free. All right, and then of course we have our jumpstart challenges. So for agents that are like, hey, I don't want 30 days. I just need something quick. I want to get going. These are the top items on here. So it's like a 7 to 14 day challenge. So instead of it being like a full 30-day, I prefer the 30 days, but if someone's saying, hey, I just want to spend a week on this and I want to get the main high points done, all right, that's okay. All right, but if agents want to take advantage of this, we do have our command challenge on here that is a printable version that they can download. So if they are more of a, I want to have it in my hands, I want to mark it off saying that I've completed it, that's okay. All right, so on here we have our printable version. And of course, you can go through, you can print it, you can download it, whatever you kind of prefer, your heart's desire at the end of the day. What we'll see on here, all the days set up in a row where it's calendar oriented. So day one, download your Command mobile app and sign in. Day two, download your KDB consumer app. So it's everything that's in that smart plan. But in case agents just want to put an X when they complete everything, up to them. Now, a lot of offices will ask us, is there tracking on this? So we can't enforce the agents to do it. So that is one thing. I can say that much. You can bring a horse to water, you can't force it to drink scenario. But I did add an Easter egg into day 30 on purpose. And that is to email support@scoutleroymarketing.com for your 30-day challenge completion certificate. When that happens, our team over here will reply back to the agent, letting them choose what type of certificate they want. There are two options they could choose from. But when we send that back, we will CC the market leader staff, not market leader, sorry, market center staff. I was talking about market leader earlier today, so I apologize. All right, market center staff on that email, so you'll know, hey, they completed that 30-day challenge. Now, in this case, if you then want to highlight that in the team meeting, saying like, hey, this person went through and they now know a little bit more about Command. All right, completely up to y'all if you want to say like, hey, they did this in 30 days. Now they've learned a little bit more. This would be great. Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. So in order to access this 30-day challenge, so it's right under agent resources. And remember, you'll want to sign in with your market center number first. So you get all access to the resources on here. And it's under the, geez, I'm hiccuping over here. And of course, I chugged my water right before the class. That was a smart move. All right. Right under training, we have SLM challenges. Yeah. And then under SLM challenges, that's where you'll find that Command one. And then under Command, it'll say printable version. So it's a few steps deep to get to it. But to help you out with it, I'll put this over in the chat section as well too, so that way you don't have to go on a treasure hunt to find everything. All right, but feel free to use that. And then once again, this is automatically added in as a smart plan for the agents as well too. And we add them as a contact to that smart plan. So when we're setting them up, all right, once they're done, they're going to sign in and they're going to see one task that's going to say, download your KW Command app. And then when they come back in the next day, if they've done that, they're going to see another task. And hopefully they kind of say like, what is going on? But hopefully they'll actually start to do that on there. All right, now the final thing we have under training that I always like to highlight is our cheat sheets. So we have a plethora of cheat sheet options on here. So this is very similar to answers.kdb.com, where if you want to learn more about all the different KDB tools and you want to see a walkthrough item on here, all right, this will be perfect. So if you're a visual learner and you want to see step-by-step of what you need to do, this is not only going to be a walkthrough, but also an FAQ. So what is the design section? How do I use it? All right, and then when I'm looking at designs, what am I seeing on here? But then on top of that, all right, great. How do I make an email design? All right, how do I do a print or a social design? So not only do we want to give them that visual option where they can come to a live training class, or I'll show you in a second where they can find a shorter version, but if they're more of like, hey, I just want to see step by step and I want to do it on my own, this is perfect. So it's kind of like an instruction manual at the end of the day. So I always say if you enjoy putting IKEA or Target furniture together as much as I do, you'll love this. All right. Or if you really miss MapQuest, this will be perfect on here. All right. I should put one in here. Turn left at the light. Yeah. All right. So all these items are all under agent resources, under training. And then the three that I just highlighted were our training calendar, SLM challenges, and then the Keller Cloud cheat sheets on here. Okay. All right, so let me go back to the homepage real quick. So beyond, yeah, of course, yeah. Ask, hey, that's what the chat section's for. Ask away. All right, so beyond all those different training options that are available, we also record everything. We probably record too much is what I usually tell people. But in this case, if you can't make it to the class, all right, if you aren't able to attend, or if you have to leave early, because in all honesty, I'm going to throw this out there. A 1 hour long training class that's on Zoom a couple of years ago probably would a little bit harder. You know, now everyone's become a little bit more accustomed to Zoom. It might not be as difficult, but I also know that a lot of things are occurring every day, especially at 1 o'clock Eastern time, 12 o'clock Central, so on and so forth. So if the agents aren't able to make it or they need to come back, I want to make sure that they're able to see the most relevant version of that class. All right, their most recent. So all these classes are alphabetically organized. And if you were on the Tuesday class, you probably saw my conniption fit when I accidentally moved one of these around and it wasn't correct. All right, but on here, they're all alphabetically organized. As of Tuesday, they're back in order. All right, so that way, if agents want to find what class they're looking for, they'll be able to find that type. And then once they click on it, yeah, 100%. Yeah, once they click on it, then they're going to see that most recent version right away. So if we had a campaigns class today, for instance, and this was uploaded, then once I click on this in the playlist, it could say something like campaigns 101-9/21. All right, so that way we can see like, hey, this is the campaign class that happened on 9/21. Or in all honesty, when this video is uploaded later on tonight, it's going to say SLM Overview -9/21. All right, so that way you'll be able to see this right away. But I want to make sure that y'all are able to find the most recent version, because inevitably if someone came to a campaigns class last month and we did one this month, well, it might be a little bit different. Right? Maybe there's some new stuff that's launched. Maybe we're teaching something different that we didn't highlight before. All right, so all these are available. All right, and then also if you want to replay these in your office. So this is another reason I like to highlight this, because obviously for agents, I say, hey, you can access these 24/7. But for office staff, what I've seen a lot of offices do is they'll say, we can't do the campaigns class that's happening on 9/21 at 1 p.m., but we're going to do it on 9/22 at 2 p.m. in the office instead, because we have an opening there. And what they'll do is they'll literally come onto our website, click on this link, and it's literally just an unmonitored, or not unmonitored, I shouldn't say that, but unlisted YouTube playlist. That's the proper terminology. And they'll then take that most recent class and they'll play it in the training room. And they'll basically just monitor it, or have someone monitoring it or moderating it, however you want to consider it, for the agents in that room. So that way they're able to look at the screen, do everything on their laptop or their tablet as well too. All right, and then usually someone, the DFI, ASC, MCTT, whoever it might be, will just kind of be in the back. And then if agents have questions, they can ask them too. All right, now if you don't want to listen to someone ramble on for an hour, which is understandable, I definitely get that. There was a time and day many moons ago where I actually did every class, and I can imagine some of the people that were doing those classes were at least attending them were probably like, oh my god, it's this guy again. So now I can say this much: every class that you come to is going to be a different person, so you won't have to hear me every time. But if you don't want to sit through an entire 1-hour class, that's okay. All right, we do have tips on here as well too. So if you are not receiving that Tuesday tech tip email, and I think that email may have gone out on Wednesday this week, because I've been messing with the schedule recently to send out, reminders about these classes that I'm doing. All right, but typically every Tuesday we have our Tech Tip Tuesday. Nice little alliteration on there. And it's going to include 5 different tips that are usually 1 to 5 minute videos. So if someone's going through and they say, hey, I don't really want to learn about everything, but I just want to learn about the new Facebook ads that KW now has through the campaign section. All right, well, then we'll have a 1, version tip on how to do a Facebook ad. And it's just going to be about 1 to 5 minutes long. So it's going to be very quick, very nitty gritty, easy on there. All right, so definitely take advantage of those. And once again, if you are not receiving them, please put your email in the chat section. I want to make sure that's updated as soon as possible. I want to make sure you're getting all those updates. But more than likely, if you're on this, hopefully you did receive the email about this class happening. So hopefully you're on that, because that's the same email that comes out with tech tips. All right. Now, beyond training, so obviously we're going to help those agents to get launched. We're going to help them even when they've been a KW agent for a while to make sure they're utilizing everything. All right, we're then going to help them with their training, whether they want to say, I want to come to live training classes. That's my learning style. I want to be there. I want to ask questions. I want to be, interactive with everything. All right, if they're coming in, they're saying, no, I just want to do it on my own. I'm self-motivated. I'm going to do 30 days on this challenge, and I'm also going to do a 30-day push-up challenge at the same time. If they are, good for them. But outside of that, if they're also saying like, hey, I just want to get these cheat sheets, and thank you, Shelby, I appreciate that. Yeah. So like you said, sometimes the agents just want the directions. That's it. And that's why I kind of equivalate it to, being like geez, in this case, really like, hey, here are the instruction manual of how to do everything, or, like MapQuest directions. I know that's an outdated reference, so I apologize, but yes. All right. But if they also want to come back and say, all right, I want to see this at my own time. I'm a visual learner, but I want to go at my own speed. We can definitely do that for them too. All right. And then if they say, hey, I don't want to do a full 1 hour class, no worries. We got different tips on here. All right. And Shelby, you got it? Yes. I will add that in. And thank you for making it today. I'm glad they forwarded this over for you. So, but we'll get you added inside on there. All right. So the one thing that I'd love to highlight, this is my personal favorite thing. So whenever we do team meetings, whenever an office allows us to come in for a team meeting, two things, I always come in with two things on my mind. One, you got 5 minutes. Time is of the essence. And two, I want to show the agents as much value as possible in those 5 minutes. So what are the big ticket items that I can say, hey, this is what you need to use today? And inevitably in a team meeting, I always highlight existing agent questionnaire. I don't click on it, I highlight it. I talk about all these different items, but I always click on agent support. And the reason I always click on it is because of this. I was about to say, hold your applause. wait for the page to load for the surprise to happen. And this isn't even that great of a surprise, it's just text. But it's because there's a plethora of items on here that are free for the agents to use at the end of the day that they should be hiring a marketing or admin person to do that they're not going to have to do. They don't have to hire anyone to do that. We're going to do it for them. And it's free. It's complimentary. Take advantage of it. So I love highlighting this page because whether an agent's been there for 1 year or, maybe 10 years or 1 day, let's say that, there's something on here that they'll find of interest and find of value. So I always start by saying at the bottom of every page, we're going to have our contact info. All right, so if they ever have any issues, questions, or concerns on any of the Cade technology, feel free to reach out to us. All right, so whether it's I can't log in, I'm having an issue with my database, I'm having an issue with DocuSign, they can reach out to us and we can help out with that immediately. All right, so any troubleshooting questions, feel free to think of us as an extra staff member. That's how I always pitch it to the agents. Think of us as an extra staff member. That's the easiest way that you'll think about it, like an extra tech staff member in the office. All right, but then I also get to highlight all these additional fun items on here. And I'm going to ask you all a question in a second. Well, it's going to be in a different section. I'm going to ask you a question in a second, and I'd love to see that chat section populate. All right, my Tuesday class, only one person answered, and I was a little upset. So I'm hoping everyone on here will answer. All right, but on here we have all of our command services. So if you just need to get your command account up and running, we can help with that. If you need help launching your smart plan, we can do that for you as well too. All right, if you need help importing your database, if you have a CSV file, VCF, numbers, Excel, Google Sheets, we'll do all the heavy lifting for you. One thing I always like to highlight on this as well too is that when importing the database, a couple things that we're going to do, we're going to reformat it to the proper format to import into command. Now, why we do it the old school way is twofold. One, we want to send it back to the agent to approve it. All right. So that way they can take a look at it and say, yep, everything looks good. Or, and this has happened, this does happen sporadically, they might come back and say, hey, don't import that. I sent you the wrong version. All right, that's the outdated one, or that one didn't have phone numbers. Let me get you the proper one. The other reason we do that is because then once we import it and we send it back to the agent saying this has been imported, we will send them that CSV file already formatted or reformatted in this case, ready to import into command. So if they ever delete something or if they accidentally delete their entire database on accident, and they need to re-import this, then they can take that file, upload it, and they don't have to do anything. It's going to automatically match with every column. Every row is going to be good to go. And then once they click import, all the work is done. They literally just need to upload it, click the import button, and they're done. All right, so no heavy lifting needed. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm knocking on wood. It is pouring rain outside. I just heard thunder, so I'm hoping my power stays on. If not, I will be back as quick as possible, but fingers crossed. All right. Now, we also happen to have Keller Cloud services as well, too. A couple things that are getting added on here. I see a new one. I'm excited about this. So if you want us to create you a Canva account, we can do that. All right. If you need help on here, like maybe updating your team information, if you're joining a team, we can help to update that. All right. If you're leaving a team, we can help to remove that information as well, too, and adjust it to an individual agent. We can create a QR code on here. If you have a new bio, email, headshot, phone number, social media info, we can update that on all the different KDB technology at any time. We even have KDB email services, or like Google, Suite, Google Workspace, whatever you want to consider it, services. Now, setting it up is something we obviously do during the onboarding process, but if an admin comes in and says, I don't need all this extra stuff, I just need an email, cool. All right, we can even help to forward this over to another email address. We can set up aliases, and then we also have website services. Now, as the new sites are launching, they officially launched about a week and a half ago, I believe. I believe that's when they launched. Maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. Everything's kind of blending together nowadays. All right. So whenever that occurs on here, we can also go through and we can add in testimonials. We can add a download app page. We can forward their domain, feature their listing, set up Google Analytics. So this is stuff that we can do on the prior site. And then once the ability to create pages is available, and we heard yesterday that it should be available very, very soon, we'll be able to actually add in all these extra items again as well too. All right, so once that page option is available, we're going to start setting up all agents on that new site instead. All right, and then of course, if you are with a particular state, for instance, we also have compliance on here. All right, so we have different compliances for different states. And one other thing I do want to highlight for y'all, if your office has an MSA agreement with a mortgage provider, with a lender, anything of that sort, where you need to have their logos on your website, let us know. We can automatically add that in for you. All right, so that is always an option on here as well. All right, now once you click on any of these buttons, you're also going to have a quick short form that you can fill out on here. Yeah. All right, so just going to ask some simple information. So like this one's for a QR code. So once we get this info, we can get the agent up and running immediately. All right, but once again, if they just email us, that's okay. We're not going to force them to fill out this on here. All right, but in this case, obviously this will help us out. And the question I did want y'all to answer, we do ask weird questions at the bottom of everything. It's what's your favorite dinosaur? If you can please put it inside the chat, that'd be fantastic. So please let me know what your favorite dinosaur is. I would like to know. Thank you. All right, and a couple questions. So Tanya, so if I provide you 3 different CSV data sets, are you able to deduplicate it also? Good question. So we aren't doing any type of duplication or merging on there. But what we are doing instead is we'll actually go through the one that looks like a chicken. All right, I'll accept that one. We are going through and we're reformatting it. Now, the good part is whenever we actually import it into command, if we then import another file and it has that same information, it will skip it. All right, and then is it better to have our existing agents wait a week before they transition from legacy sites? Good question. I would, to be safe. All right, just inevitably, we'll probably make a large announcement saying like, hey, we're now updating everything to the new sites. Even though they're available right now, there are certain things that are still missing that certain offices need for compliance that we want to make sure we're safe on. All right. And thank you. Once again, the one that looks like a chicken. I feel like I should know this one, but yes, they all kind of look like chickens. And then thank you, Joe. Yeah, the one that spits on Newman from Seinfeld in the movie Jurassic Park. I appreciate that. Yeah. Perfect. All right. And then the final stuff I do want to highlight for y'all is we do have leadership support. All right. So we do also happen to have our 30-day launch. So similar to that challenge, similar to the challenge that I showed you earlier, this is 30 items you can do in 30 days or less to really start to utilize all of our services. So everything that we're providing on here. All right, so this is another great thing to highlight. All right, so as you can see on here, like day 1, send SLM your most up-to-date roster for us to send out our intro email. Day 2, print out our training flyers for the month and distribute it to the agents, post around the office. Add our training classes to your office calendar. Send out our weekly tips. Schedule Scott or Joe in this case on here. All right. Schedule us for a team meeting. I'm not even going to read the chat anymore. This is you guys in the chat are getting out of hand. I love it. All right. All right. So please feel free to download this and that'll be perfect on here. All right. So once you come through here, once again, under that leadership section, under leadership support, we have our 30-day launch. We also provide leadership support. If you need help importing contacts into Command MC, if you need help adding those contacts over into your Command MC Smart Plan, if you need help auditing the list of exception support, we can do all of that. We even have a KDB resource website that y'all can utilize, a WordPress website you can utilize, and we are going to talk about offboarding on here again. All right, so I don't want to highlight it, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, we do have all of our office marketing flyers accessible on here. So if you want to access those at any time, you're definitely more than welcome to. All right, so these are different PDFs you can print off. If you want an overview of everything I'm jabbering on about in written form, we have our SLM Overview section. And then we are updating our Track Your Office section. I just had a meeting yesterday, and I told the person I want it to look, and this is, I don't know if I could have sounded any crazier than I did, but I said, have you seen the Domino's pizza tracker? I was like, that's what I inevitably would love. You know, the agent submitted the questionnaire, our tier 1 team has completed it, our tier 2 team has checked it for quality, it's now been sent out to the agent. You know, so I'd love to have something like that. All right, and then maybe at the end it'll say your pizza's been delivered. I don't know. All right, but looking back over all these items, so we do have a resource website. So if y'all want to utilize this, one thing, Anonymous Kraken, one thing you want to do, first and foremost, you want to make sure you're not using a kdb.com email, because like we were talking about before, in Google Suite or Google Workspace, the kdb.com email does not allow for Google Sites. All right, but if you use a gmail.com email, you can access this. All right, and all you'll need to do once you click on this is click the 3 dots at the top right and make a copy. All right, you'll want to make sure you make a copy so that way you can go through and have your own version to update. But this is a great internal resource option if you then want to say like, hey, what resources do we currently have on here? You know, and let's highlight those. Like we've given you some options to utilize on here, obviously. But then on top of that, do you want to highlight your leadership team? Do you want to highlight your ALC? Do you want to highlight your technology? You know, all the different applets for command, support, training calendars, whatever it might be. So more of an internal resource. All right, whereas outside of that, we also happen to have our market center sites. Yeah, so all these items are under agent resources, but then under leadership support. All right, so this is the KW resource website that we're talking about right now. And the next one we're going to talk about is that MC websites one. Now, for the MC websites, this is something that we actually purchased for y'all. So in order to have a more luxurious website, all right, we've actually purchased these websites that are WordPress websites for you to utilize. So included in our virtual tech services, you'll have this template ready to go. Now, inevitably, I'm showing you just the base version of this right now, and I'm going to show you a really cool one that an office did. But this is a great place where you can go through and you can highlight your leadership. Well, Tanya, I'm glad you came on today. So now you're getting a look into this. You're getting a peek under the hood of everything. So you'll get to actually put inside your leadership on here and highlight that. So instead of having to just basically say, hey, here's everything, you know, that's coming over from Command MC, you actually get to play with this and you can customize it. You can add inside a page for your, ALC. If you have multiple locations, you can highlight that. We have different pages on here for buying, for selling, a careers page where you can highlight this for people to actually join Keller Williams. So you receive this site for free. So if you'd like to utilize this site and you do not have access to it quite yet, everyone has their own variation of the site. If you don't have access to it, please email Scott at scottleroymarketing.com and just put attention Scott in the subject line and then new MC website help. There we go. Yeah, hey, no, it's a thank you. I'm glad y'all are getting a lot out of this. I'm almost done, I promise. We're getting very close to the end. We're putting on the 18th. All right, but on here, one that I always like to highlight that an office did an amazing job with. Now, I take zero credit for this. I want to make sure that is known. This office did this on their own. If you ever see any of this stuff on any of the videos where I highlight this, I always like to say this office went above and beyond. So this is what you could do with the site, though. They added in their own video on, well, technically this is the KW video that just came out at Mega Camp, but they added that in. All right, they added in their own video on here. They highlighted some extra stuff about exploring. But if you notice on here, they have their leadership added in. So now we can go through, we can see all of them, we can connect with them. They added in a page for their ALC. To keep this free, they also have it set where once you click on our agents, it's going to go back to their Command MC website. So they don't have to pay for a feed for those agents to feed over to the site. All right, same with the property search. On property search, they've iframed in their yourkwoffice.com site. So now on here, it's going to have all this information from that site. All right, so all this will be available. Yep, so this is actually all available right now. So here's just an example of what the site could look like. And then if you do not have that site quite yet, if you don't have your Market Center sites available, all right, feel free to email Scott at scottleroymarketing.com. Put inside the subject line of this. And then that way I'll know, hey, let's get this launched for you guys. And then that way we can get the template started for you and give you some quick videos on how you can play around and start to adjust it and have some fun. So that's what this office did. We launched the base site for them. They went in and they started playing around with it and they did all this stuff. All right, and now it's amazing looking. All right. Now, one other thing I do want to highlight for the leadership support side, we do also offer offboarding help. All right, so if you do need help with offboarding, obviously we don't like to talk about it, but it is a thing that happens. All right, so in this case, under offboarding, if an agent is leaving Keller Williams, not going to another KW office, but leaving in general, they're going to another brokerage, they're getting out of real estate, whatever the reasoning might be. All right, we have two variations of how they can fill this out. Either the agent's filling it out or the office is filling it out. All right, those are the two variations on here. Now, I know, and I'm sure y'all know just as well as anyone, that once an agent is leaving Keller Williams, it's kind of like pulling teeth to get them to fill something out. So that's understandable. So what some offices have done instead, and here's a great example of one on here, is that instead of filling out this information, what they'll do is they'll actually email us like, hey, can you offboard this agent? Here's their personal email. The username is this. And then that immediately tells us that they adjusted the email address over inside. I'm going to get rid of this real quick. The recovery email address over inside Command MC in that associate section to be our email address. So we can reset the password real quick, because what we'll do, and this is going to happen before they're out of Command MC. So prior to them being removed from Command MC, all right, we're going to go in and we're going to shut down their website. We're going to turn off their app, turn off their profile. All right, we're going to go through and we're going to, shut down their smart plans. We're going to export their contacts and we're going to go through the marketplace and see if there are any paid subscriptions, and we're going to remove them for them. All right, so that's all accessible on here. All right. All right, so a great question. Yeah, so to see if you actually happen to have a Market Center site in use, the quickest method is to go to marketcentersites.com and then do /MC and then your Market Center number. So like if I did /MC1005, slowly coming up. All right, so it's technically live, but there's just not anything on here quite yet. All right, so that way we can get that on there. Yeah. All right. And another question. So on the offboarding, can the email be shut down before 60 days? Yes, but you'll need to reach out to KW support. That's not anything that we'd be able to adjust over here, but that is something that if you reach out to support as an admin, you can get that adjusted a little bit quicker too. All right. All right. So the final thing I do want to show y'all on here is something, yeah, of course, something that is actually about to come out. So if you notice on here, you may have noticed when I went over it a little bit, we have some templates. And you're going to notice this is different. We used to have a section on here that said agent templates, leadership templates, and then agent store. So we still have our partnership with Agent Store, which is a preferred vendor of KW, where we have print marketing pieces. But we also have free templates on here. The free templates are all through Canva. All right, so if y'all want to utilize any of these templates, these are all Canva templates that are accessible for you. We have leadership templates. We have agent templates on here as well, too. All right, and then, of course, if you're looking for some new stuff, all right, feel free to once again, cast your vote. All right, and then if you need help setting this up, feel free to contact support on here. We can get that set up for you as well, too, for a new Canva account. All right, but these are all different templates that are accessible for you. And another thing that we're launching as well, we have a couple offices using it right now. We have two variations of this. We have a paid add-on where it's unlimited, where we'll make all these pieces for the agents, whether it's listing social posts or just social posts in general, flyers, postcards, daily content. We also have a do-it-yourself option on here as well, too. All right, and then also one for you choose where agents can vote. And then obviously we have it a quote-unquote luxury collection where it's really just more in the luxury colors of white, black, gray, silver, and gold. All right, but these are all accessible for y'all to use. And this is something that we're launching very soon. where then you'll actually be able to see if agents want to have us do it for them, then there's an add-on option for the office, or we'll have an a la carte option as well too, where we can then make these pieces for them. But for the time being, take advantage of these free templates. All right, they're all through Canva. So if you have a Canva account, you can utilize it immediately. If you want to take that image and then upload it over into designs, you can do that as well too. All right, but all these items are accessible for y'all to use right away. So have some fun with them. All right, so I know that was a lot to cover on here today. All right, that was definitely a lot going through. All right, but this is everything that's now accessible for y'all through that scottleroymarketing.com website with the virtual text services only, just that. All right, so only through there. And yep, Shelby, yes, there are multiple new agent ones. So once you go under templates and the free templates, all those, once you download it, you'll actually download every variation that we've created on there, and then you'll be able to tweak them as well too if you want. All right, but remember, everything is under this agent resources section. You'll want to sign in with your Market Center number first, so that way you can see everything on here. All right, but this is everything that's available. So a couple things I definitely want to finish on. One, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. If you ever have any issues, questions, concerns on anything, that is what we're here for. Let us know how we can help out. And two, if you ever need us to hop on a team meeting, all right, please feel free to obviously let us know. We can look at our calendar, and typically one of us, whether it's myself, whether it's our account manager, Joe, that you saw on here for a hot second talking about dinosaurs, all right, we'll be able to hop on there right away as well too. All right, and then the final thing, and I'll send this out to y'all, but I'll wait for a couple seconds. I put it in our chat section. That is our Calendly link. This is just for leadership to schedule time with our team over here, with our obviously our account management team, or to go over any type of training stuff. So if you were like, hey, what all are we getting, from y'all? What else can we take advantage of? Or if you want to ask us about some of our new services or anything, let us know. All right, so always feel free to book a time on there. All right. But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much on here for coming. I really appreciate this. It's been fantastic. Shelby, one quick question. I don't think you actually put your email on here. If you can put your email in the chat section real quick, I want to make sure that is added in, so you start to get those emails moving forward as well too. I know you said you got this from the assistant team leader, so I want to make sure I grab that for you. Oh, perfect. All right, even better. Thank you. There we go. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Hopefully it's not stormy in your area like it is over here. This will be on our YouTube channel a little bit later on today. So youtube.com/ScottLeroyMarketing. More importantly, enjoy your Thursday. If I don't get to talk to you tomorrow, have a fantastic weekend. And I hope you all are having a great day today. All right. So make it a great day. Have a fantastic day. And I will see y'all very soon.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.